Alright, hey there. Just wanted to showcase my character sum for 3.5 Betrayal League right now. I have quite a few of them, but this one is one of my favorites thus far. So I'm going to just pop into a map and then I will discuss the mechanics and talk about the build a bit after.
The mediocre turned remarkable. The mediocre turned remarkable.
Right, that was a T16 Elder Glacier with a couple different sextants. Ended up having a death, which is unfortunate, but syndicate, what can you do? Alright, so let's talk about I'm going to talk about the gem setup first, then I'll go over my gear and skill tree. So, first of all, main skill is Flicker Strike, as you can tell, with multi-strike, cast on crit, increase crits. Then we got Frostbolt and Ice Nova. So if you're unsure of how this interaction works, basically when Frostbolts go out, Ice Nova will expand up to twice on top of the Frostbolts. So you're basically getting 2 to 3 extra Ice Novas like per Frostbolter. So so it's just a shit ton of extra damage compared to just Ice Nova itself. I tried without Frostbolt and it was way less damage. So and then I got 2 Cast on Damage Taken setups right now. So Cast on Damage Taken level 1 with Immortal Call, and then Vortex only level 4 with Bone Chill. It's basically just to proc Bone Chill and adds a little bit extra damage. It's not much, but and then I have a Cast on Damage Taken with Frost Bomb. One thing I'm considering doing is getting rid of this setup here, like taking Vortex and Bone Chill out and putting in Volrage's Fire, because when Volrage's Fire is up you get 32% more spell damage, and then put Increased Duration on here, so Immortal Call lasts a little bit longer. Volrage's Fire should go from 4 seconds up to like 6 seconds-ish, something like that. And then move these over, so I still have a Cast on Damage Taken with Frost Bomb, and then put Vortex and Bone Chill on there. And then I have Herald of Ice with Enlighten. Then I can move my Herald of Ice out of this setup and hopefully put it in my shield. So in here I have Shield Charge with faster attacks and Flame Dash. Probably get rid of Flame Dash or maybe faster attacks to get the Herald of Ice up there. Flame Dash is literally just to jump over gaps. I only use it for that reason. So then we got Blasphemy with Frostbite, Discipline, well, Vault Discipline, and Enlighten level 3. I could, once I get a level 4 Enlighten, I'm definitely not going to need this one on Herald of Ice. Level 4 Enlighten on here would be just fine. So technically I don't even need this one right now, I still have enough mana to work with, but it's just quality of life. And then in my Claw, biggest thing to note about the Claw before I talk about the gems is trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill is there. So it works kind of like Poet's Pen, except it's only procs once every 5 seconds, but it'll proc once every 5 seconds per skill in the Claw, as far as I can tell. So basically we have a Blade Vortex linked to Power Charge on crit in here. So this is how we sustain our power charges. Blade Vortex is a 5-second duration, and then the Claw procs it every 5 seconds, so it's pretty much always up. And I get a Shield Charge, and it'll proc. And it'll just stay up all the time, basically. So, as you can see, it's not falling off there. It went up to 2, briefly. So yeah. And then that just procs power charges on shit, since we flicker all over the place. It'll hit multiple mobs at a time, and we get a ton of power charges off of it. And then we have Discharge, level 21 Discharge. Because our charge generation is so good, I figure might as well use Discharge, try to make use of it. It'll proc only once every 5 seconds, and we definitely will have max charges again within those 5 seconds, so. Alright, now let's talk about the gear itself. So, first things first with the Claw, it's a multi-modded Claw. This thing cost me about 5x to craft, I think, something like that. Maybe 3, 4, I don't know. Basically just get a base. I think it needs to be eye level 83, 85, 83 or 85, something like that, for the max attack speed roll. So we got the T1 attack speed, and I regaled it, got some bad mod that you just have to 50-50 annul off. So I annulled off the bad mod, and then I could just multi-mod it. So The spell damage and non-chaos damage, extra chaos damage hybrid roll is better than the just percent non-chaos damage, extra chaos damage, or this base spell damage. The hybrid is better than either of those. So we put that on, and then we need the 40% chance to cause bleeding on hit. There's a 20% chance as well, but we just need the chance to bleed. We don't actually need the damage. So flat fizz, 40% chance to bleed on hit. And then we get hits can't be evaded because we do not take any accuracy in the tree in this build, or very, very little, and we don't get accuracy on gear. So we basically have a 100% chance to hit. And then we finish it off with the trigger socket spell when you use a skill, just to get the extra juiciness out of this thing for the power charges, for the discharge. Could also use something else like Cold Snap, Vortex, max level, whatever. I'm actually thinking about swapping to that for a little bit too, see how it feels. But yeah, so that's that. Helmet is just high ES, as much ES as possible. Ideally, I want the 40% Ice Nova damage on here, as well as nearby enemies of -9 cold res, and then some resistances. So that'll be ideal here. That's probably going to be my next purchase. Chest piece. This is a multi-modded, just high ES chest piece. This one I was using on my Molten Strike CI HOA build, but I decided to repurpose it for this as well. This is essentially for, without the intelligence rolls on here, this is essentially like a 700 something ES chest piece. So yep, just high ES as possible, 6 link, and good to go. Gloves, just high ES, attack speed, resists if possible. Belt, ES, resists, pretty much it. Oh, we need strength as well. Need to get as much strength as possible on belt and ring and necklace, because we need to hit 120 strength to be able to wear the boots, which I'll get to in a second. The boots. So we run red trails in order to sustain our flickers. With the boots, you gain a frenzy charge on hit while you're bleeding. So you have to be bleeding, and then you get a frenzy charge every time you hit something. We have a 100% hit chance because of the claw, so every time we hit, we get a frenzy guaranteed. Because you put in this drill, the golden rule, so bleeding you inflict on is reflected to you. So then basically we hit, we have a 40% chance to bleed on every hit. And then we just bleed ourselves. So we pretty much are always bleeding, and we're always getting frenzies because of this, which lets us always sustain flicker. There's a very, very, very low chance that I can't sustain with this. I've even run 60% chance for monsters to avoid bleed and still been able to sustain flicker through that, so it's just fine. For our shield, we are running an Apex Supremacy, so because we bleed ourselves, Apex allows us to turn that fizz damage from bleeding into chaos damage, and because we are a chaos inoculation character, we're immune to chaos damage, so basically we're immune to bleed while still being able to be bled. Same thing with poison, because of being CI. So if we get poisoned, we also have 3% max level res, so that's just a nice little defensive bonus. Other than that, it's just ES. As for our jewelry, we have a necklace that is high strength. We need the strength, as mentioned earlier, because we need to hit the 120 strength mark. And then I have flat energy shield on here. I would like to be able to craft the percentage energy shield on here instead of lightning res, but I need to hit the lightning res cap currently, so that's what we got for the time being. And then crit multi is super important since it's crit build, and percent cold damage leached is life hybrid roll with the cold res. This comes from Temple. Just wanted more leech, honestly. The survivability in the build is pretty good as long as we're hitting a lot of mobs, but on single target can get kind of dicey, so with some leech, extra leech, it's really solid. There's also an enchant that lets you have Vault Pact while focused, and I would love to try that out on here too. And then I got a Warlord's Mark on hit ring. It's pretty much the only thing that's important about this ring. Need a little bit of strength if possible, need energy shield, and resist as much as possible. There's a couple different things you can do with the ring that are nice too, but definitely need the Warlord's Mark on Hit for the it gives both Leech and Endurance Charge Sustain. And then Mark of the Shaper, so combos with Warlord's Mark on Hit ring quite nicely because this gives me extra spell damage, extra energy shield, flat lightning damage to spells, so on. As for flasks, the important one is Diamond Flask. Crit chance during flask effect enchant on here, which comes from the Mastermind. If you get a Cinder Swallow flask drop, one of the unveiled mods is this crit chance during flask effect. Super good. That series, extra leech, a little bit extra damage. Silver Flask for Onslaught, and Jade Flask for just some evasion, survivability. Stibnite might also be good, but this one gives us a lot more evasion, whereas Stibnite, if we put it on a target and can sit in the cloud, that would be better, I think, but for now this works. Sword of the Divine, basically just giving some extra damage, and Zealot, so you can get some energy shield regen during it. I get 463 energy shield per second while this is up, so, wow. Well, while standing in the consecrated ground, but which doesn't happen for long, but still gets Zealot. Or still get the damage bonus, rather. As for my passive tree, I am an Occultist. Since I'm a CI build, Wicked Ward, Vile Bastion, these two nodes are just really strong right now for any CI build. And then I took Void Beacon and Frigid Wake, so can't be chilled, can't be frozen with Frigid Wake. And then we get a little bit of utility from the extra freeze chance on nearby enemies, and also get 10% reduced damage taken from hits by chilled enemies. So pretty good utility ability. This basically makes it so on my flasks I only need Ignite, Curse, Shock Removal. Currently I'm not running Shock Removal, but I have one in the bank to swap to when I need it. Profane Bloom and Malediction are also a good option. With Malediction, could get a third curse because I'm running Whispers of Doom up here. So that would let us get a implicit corrupted pair of gloves with, like, I don't know, early weakness on hit or something, potentially. So that could be good. But Profane Bloom doesn't really seem necessary, honestly. I got plenty of clear as it is. So yeah. Pretty much go up here, get all the ES nodes. Go for Blast Radius, some area of effect, area damage, obviously really strong. Annihilation, Spell Crit. I took Frostwalker because I needed the Cold Res. Was pretty strapped for Res. I could probably get rid of it now, but for the time being, it helps with gearing. Eventually I would like to maybe get rid of these 4 nodes and travel over here and get Arcane Potency, because this is like a really good crit wheel for Spell Crit. Then came over here and got Whispers of Doom. Trying to get max power charges when possible. So I got +2 max power charges, also get +2 frenzies, just to get, since we had so much charge gen, get those stacked a little bit, and it helps with the discharge damage. Take Arcane Focus for extra ES2 on the way. So I got a Frozen Trail in here to proc extra Frostbolt projectiles, so every time I shoot out a Frostbolt it shoots out 3 instead of 1, which is quite nice. Come up here and get Heart of Ice. Heart of Ice is more damage than Breath of Rime. Breath of Rime is nice because of the chill, but in the freeze duration, but besides that, Heart of Ice. Over here, get CI. I came this way. Originally I went through this way on the tree, but I switched it up because I'm traveling by Essence Surge now, so I can pick up Essence Surge easily if I want to. So that might be next after I finish off Snowforged. Snowforged is kind of a meh wheel generally, but because it adds crit, we want more crit for Cast on Crit Flicker. So, and then Throatseeker, so crit multi. Down here is more crit multi with Heartseeker. That's pretty much what those nodes are for. Gotta travel over here to get Ghost Reaver as well. Super important because need ES Leech. We have life leech, 1.2%. So that converts to energy shield leech, which is quite good. Doomcast for more crit for our Ice Nova, crit damage. Written in Blood is kind of a nice node because it gives us much needed strength, and ES took this strength node because need strength. Come down and grab Assassination, Trickery, Will of Blades, Coordination, just crit attack speed, try to make the build smooth out some. Nullification and Void Barrier, I made sure to pick both of these up because of the added resists on top of the energy shield. Kind of need both really badly. So this jewel socket, I just have a ES crit multi, a little bit of damage jeweled in there. Can kind of be whatever is needed. I might I used it for a while to get some resists and whatnot as well. So. And then travel over here and grab these claw nodes. This is basically to help with the leech and the crit. So these nodes up here give crit chance with claws, which helps our flicker strike crit chance. And then the leech is the main thing. So I get a bunch of extra leech out of that. Can also grab these claw wheel, or this claw wheel here for extra crit chance if flicker strike crit chance feels a little lacking. But when I have my diamond flask up at 41.5, and then with power charges that goes up to like 60 something, and then with diamond flask for crit chance lucky that's like 85% effective crit or somewhere around there, so it feels pretty good once as long as that's rolling. So yeah, I think that's about it. Pantheon, I run Solaris and Growth Call currently. I need to upgrade them, I haven't done that yet, but Aberrath could be good because of Ignite Duration. Lunaris is never a bad choice either. Just make sure that Rallycash, you don't want to Rallycash because you don't want to avoid bleeds with this build. Obviously you want to be bleeding yourself, so yeah. Currently level 90, it's going pretty well. Occasionally die in T16 maps, but can pretty much wipe through them or blow through them. Guardians are kind of a problem, but it's not meant as a boss killer either, so it's meant for map clear, and judging by the map that I just did, the Elder Glacier, it does that quite well, so pretty happy with it. Still need to min-max some things a little bit, especially the helmet, but yeah, it's going well. I will leave a POB in the description, that way you can take a look if you're interested. Bye.